fill in the blanks, all kinds of different stuff. So hopefully that'll be helpful. In October of 2020, former professional surfer Matt Wilkinson was out in the water at Sharps Beach in Australia. From where he was, everything seemed fine. The waves were normal, the water looked normal. He had no idea that just beneath the surface, a great white shark was moving dangerously close to him. But someone else saw what he could not see. A drone operator from Surf Life Saving, New South Wales, was watching the water from above. From that higher vantage point, he spotted the shark. And he didn't just notice it. He sounded the alarm. Through the speaker on the drone, he warned Wilkinson to get out of the water. Wilkinson made it safely back to shore. Only afterward, when the lifeguard showed him the footage that you're seeing right here, did he realize how close the shark had come. Someone saw from above what he could not see from the water. Someone saw from above what he could not see from the water. Sometimes the people in danger do not know they are in danger. Sometimes the threat is beneath the surface. Sometimes everything looks normal from where they are standing. That is why someone has to be watching from a higher place. Someone has to be willing to sound the alarm. Love does not watch people drift into dangerous waters and stay silent. Love raises the flag, sounds the alarm, and moves toward the wounded. I want to kick off the final part of this series by looking at something Jesus says in John 10. Listen to what Jesus says. He says, the thief, and I want you to pay very careful attention to the words Jesus uses to describe different kinds of people. He says, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf. There's another word picture for you. Sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away. And the wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because he does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me and I know the Father. And watch that last line. I laid down my life for the sheep. I laid down my life for the sheep. I find it interesting. Jesus uses three images to express danger: thief, wolf, and hired hand. Why? One reason is to show us that there are many ways to destroy people. There are many ways to be destroyed. He uses one overall image to express safety, shepherd. Why? One reason is because when our lives become endangered, we do not need to be searching for help. We need to know exactly where to look. When the wolf is pursuing us, we don't need to waste time or energy trying to figure out whose voice to listen to or where to look for protection. We need one voice, one person, the shepherd. Now, since today is Father's Day, I want to speak directly to the shepherds for a moment. The fathers of our homes, the men who oversee kind of our family. A father is not called to be a shark in the waters or the wolf on the hunt or a hired hand who just does his job and calls it a day, or a thief who takes what he wants and leaves nothing of value behind. A father is called to be the one who is watching the waters. Your strength, sir, is not for intimidation. Your strength is for protection. Your voice is not for domination. Your voice is for warning, for blessing, for guiding, for covering. So here's what I want to do today. I want to explain to the best of my ability the role of shepherds in the home, fathers. And if your home does not have a father in it right now, that's okay. Because some of the greatest protectors I know are single mothers. Some of the greatest protectors I know are grandmothers who take up the mantle, who are mentors and teachers and older siblings sometimes, and even friends who say, I'm going to be the protector here. I'm going to do everything I can. Not on my watch will the shark take those who I love down. So let's take a look at what it means to be a shepherd. Number one, own the waters entrusted to you. Assume responsibility for the people and environments God has placed within your influence. This is about ownership, not control, not domination, not micromanaging everything that's going on in your home, not treating adults like children. This is about responsibility. Dads, those of you who are overseeing your home, the shepherds of your home, God has placed some people within your influence, and you are responsible to care about what is forming them, what is harming them, what is pulling them under. Parents, do you take responsibility for the development of your children's minds? Because their minds are being developed right now. Their hearts are being formed. Their values are being defined. Their desires are being shaped. Their dreams are coming into clarity. Their characters are being made. Are you taking responsibility for what is going on within your home? If not, you should. You have much more influence than you might think. You know, as a therapist and as a pastor, I get the distinct honor of sitting with people behind the scenes. Sitting with them when they are vulnerable, when they're honest, when they're transparent, when they have no reason to mask anything, no reason to hide, no reason to fake it, when they feel no need to perform or to impress, when it's just us sitting in a room, they let down their guard, they become who they really are. And ever so often, I get the honor of speaking with a teenager about his or her struggles at home or at school, whether it's managing a bully or navigating the tension of their parents going through a divorce and figuring out what to do with all the emotions and questions that are stirring within them and around them. Parents, listen to me very carefully. Don't keep your kids in the dark. Get involved, ask questions, do your best to know them at an intimate level. Show interest, be curious, become an expert on your child. Why? Because let me give you some advice, parents. Let me give you some insight about your kids. They look to you for direction. They crave your wisdom and knowledge. They want to know how to think, how to feel. They need you to communicate with them. You might be surprised at how many kids, how many teenagers do not communicate well with their parents. Interestingly, if you speak with the parents, they say things like this, oh yeah, we get along great. She tells me everything. And then when I speak with the kids or the teenagers behind the scenes, I hear things like this. You know, mom is just so hard to talk with. Or our dad just doesn't get it. He's so caught up in gaming or sports. He doesn't even listen to anything I say. There's a distinction there. Parents, especially dads, listen to me. They're your children. They're your teenagers. They're your young adults. And they will pass this way no more. Don't squander the time you have them within your influence now. And here's what I've learned. They don't care if you're perfect. They don't care if you get it right. It doesn't matter if you stumble and bumble along trying to communicate. They just want you to try. They just want you to get involved, to show some interest, to show you care, and that you actually value what's going on in their lives, and you want to help if you possibly can. Moms, dads, your home has waters. Your marriage has waters. Your conversations have waters. Your phone habits create waters. Your children are swimming in the environment you help create. And you cannot guard what you refuse to own. Consider your home like a body of water. Ask yourself, is the body of water in my home clean? Is it safe? Are there sharks swimming underneath it? And if you say, I don't know, then you got some serious work to do. Because the people entrusted to you should not have to survive what you refuse to confront. Number two, learn how danger works. Know the nature of sharks. Do not be naive about destructive people. Don't be naive about destructive patterns. Do not be naive about systems that are set up to trip your kids, your teenagers. Be aware of temptations that they're facing. Understand the nature of sharks. Let me tell you a few things about sharks, and I've learned this over the years, and part of it's because I've been bitten by them. So I've learned. Sharks are predators. They are not swimming around looking for friendship. They are not misunderstood dolphins. Okay? Sharks are designed to hunt, consume, and survive. And that matters because some dangers you don't need to negotiate with. The dangers need to be recognized and they need to be avoided. Do not counsel a shark. Now listen, Mr. Shark. Can you try to be more nice, please? Would you try to be more kind, please? No. You recognize a shark, you warn others when you see the shark, and you get the people out of the water. Sharks are persistent. Some sharks must keep moving to keep oxygen flowing over their gills. That makes them a picture of relentless danger. They patrol, they circle, they wait. They do not announce themselves. They're patient enough to keep moving until the right moment comes. They're not in a hurry. They're waiting for that weak moment. They're waiting for the right opportunity. The most dangerous threats are not always loud. Sometimes they're just circling and circling and circling. And when the right moment comes, well, there they are. Number 3, sharks are drawn to weakness. If you were with us last week, you remember we talked about blood in the waters and how sharks are attracted to blood. Blood in the water matters. Isolation matters. Distraction matters. A swimmer alone, wounded, exhausted, unaware that there's danger around them. Sharks do not usually attack the strong. They don't attack the strongest. They're not looking for the ones who are on the watch, looking and getting out of the water quickly. They're looking for vulnerability. The enemy often aims at the places where we are wounded, where we are isolated, where we are tired, where we are ashamed, where we are unaware. Again, if you were with us last week, you remember we talked about one of the most important things you possibly can do to avoid being bitten by a shark is to get as healthy as possible. When you're bleeding, you attract sharks. Also, they attack from below. By the time someone sees the fin, the danger may already be too close. The real threat was moving underneath long ago before it was obvious above the water. Listen to me very carefully. What destroys people publicly often began circling privately quite a while ago. A lot of times what we do is we hear the story written about the person bitten by the shark. Well, in that moment where the shark bit, that was just the outcome of circling for quite a while. When someone's life falls apart, most of the time you can go back and find a pattern of some behaviors that began, some patterns that started, some temptations that were given into, some habits that were formed, some compromising going on. The shark bite was the end of all of the other things that happened. What destroys people publicly often began circling privately. And protectors, dads, moms, those of you who are shepherding your home, you've got to understand how destructive patterns work. Shepherds need to recognize manipulation, secrecy, grooming, addiction, spiritual abuse, coercion, intimidation, isolation, flattery, shame, pressure. I mean, it's everywhere. Parents, listen, I understand our culture is challenging. Our kids and teens and young adults live in a world much different than the world we grew up in. And all the old people said, amen, right? It's different today. But do not let the differences intimidate you or cause you to tap out and say, well, I just don't know what to do. Ignorance is not a fruit of the Spirit. Innocent as doves does not mean misinformed. Jesus said, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves, innocent as doves, but wise as serpents. You cannot protect people from danger you refuse to understand. Ignorance is not an excuse. We have a responsibility to understand as much as possible taking care of children today. Understanding the teenage world today, the young adult world today. What does marriage look like today? I mean, we can take it all the way up into every single bracket, every single status of ages and lives. Well, I don't know what to do, Scott. You know, teenagers are so different today than when I was a teenager, and kids, you know, I don't understand all that they're doing. Let me help you with that. Number one, you can research. You can research. AI is extremely helpful. If you don't know something about a trend or a fad or a celebrity that your kids are talking about or trying to, emulate, research, find out. Go online, put in a name, put in what's popular, what TV shows are popular. Find out. You hear them talking about it. What's on that TV show? What's being fed? What's developing their mind? What's developing their heart? What's forming their values? What is telling them this is most important? This is what you want to look like, act like, be like. This is what you want to become when you grow up. Do you have any idea what is forming them right now? Do some research and find out. What songs, what artists are trending? Know more about what's going on in your kids' world than they think you do. Surprise them with how much you know. Here's a great idea. Ask questions. What are you doing? That's a great question. What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you going to be with? Here's a good one. Why? Why are you doing that? Where are you going? Who are you going to be with? Where are you going? Why? What are you doing? Some of you kids are like, oh, I wish you would be quiet. Now my mom and dad are going to be asking all these questions. Good. Questions are great. Get the answers. Stay curious, parents. Who are their friends? What is their preferred way of communicating? What are they doing with their time? What do they enjoy doing? Stay curious. Those of you who grew up like I do, I'm going to set myself in the time, kind of give away my age, but when I was a kid, we had this machine that hung on the wall. It had a handle on it. It had numbers on it. You took the handle off, you pushed a certain set of numbers, and across town, another machine would ring. And most of the time, when that other machine rang, an adult would answer that other side of the machine. And you talked in this little speaker, and the other into that machine, adult would say hello, and you would talk to this adult, and you would ask, can you speak with, and you would give your friend's name, and the dad or the mom would decide whether or not you could talk with their kid, and then they knew the time that you called, and they knew who was online, and they knew how long you were online, and when you got off the phone because dad had to use it or mom had to use it, then you could always have follow-up questions. Who was that? What are you guys doing? I heard you talking about this and that and this. There was some, interaction. Not today. Not today. They can bypass mom, bypass dad, and go right to the kid anytime, day or night. Stay curious. Dad, let me ask you a question. If somebody called your home at midnight and asked to speak to your daughter, more than likely you would say, one, why are you calling this time of the night or morning? Two, you would ask your daughter or your son, hey, why was so-and-so calling so late last night? Now, right now, she's asleep, he's asleep. And then you would find out, they called again the next night at 1 a.m. Then they called again at 1 a.m. They called at midnight again. You would start getting a little concerned. What's going on at midnight, 1 o'clock? Why are you on the phone at that? You would say, no, thank you, hang up the phone. Today, you have no idea what's going on at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Texting all night, on the phone. Stay curious. You better find out. You better find out. You better find out. It's your waters. You're in control of that. You better find out. Here's a big one. Track changes. Not to catch them, but to understand them. We are raising children in waters today that never close. 24/7, they're open. You realize every teenager is online every day. Almost every teenager is online every day. 4 in 10, 40% say that they're online almost constantly. Half, 50% of teens spend 4 or more hours a day on screens outside of schoolwork. And this is not just a teenage issue. Many children have their own tablet by 2. And nearly 1 in 4 have cell phones by 8. So when we talk about guarding the waters, we're not being dramatic. Oh, you're just, you're preaching up there trying to make things dramatic. No. This is stats. I talk to people outside of church. We're just being honest. The water is crowded. The current is strong. And there are things beneath the surface our children are not mature enough to navigate. We used to worry about our kids, where they were going. Now we have to worry about what's getting access to them while they're sitting in their bedroom. Used to, you could say, where's our sweetheart, our daughter, our son? He's in his room, she's in her room. Hey, it feels great. We're all home. Parents know that feeling. Everybody's home. Everybody's in their rooms. Everybody is what? We thought, safe. Now we have to be concerned because the danger is not only that kids go looking for darkness, the danger is that darkness now knows where to find them. Research, ask questions, stay curious, track changes. A child with a smartphone is not just holding a device. They may be standing on the edge of an ocean. They have no idea how to read those waters. They're wading in waters. They don't even know what's around them. Did you notice the drone operator when I read at the beginning with Matt? This is what the drone operator said when he was watching Matt. At the end of it all, he said it sort of came out of nowhere. Talk about the shark. It sort of came out of nowhere, then it went right up to Matt. It moved pretty fast, he said. That's how sharks do. Number 3, I only have 65 of these, so just hang tight. I only have 5. Raise the flag early. Warn people before the bite, not only after the blood's in the water. Protectors warn. They do not merely notice danger, they speak when they notice danger. Here's a passage of scripture you may have not ever read before, come across. It's Ezekiel chapter 33, the prophet Ezekiel. God is speaking to Ezekiel. Watch what God says to Ezekiel. So you, mortal, I have made a sentinel for the house of Israel, a speaker for the house, a watchman, if you will, for the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, you shall give warning from me. If I tell you to be on the lookout, you need to tell the people to be on the lookout. If I tell you and warn you about something that's coming, you got to give a warning for me. You're the speaker for me, Ezekiel. If I say to the wicked, O wicked ones, you shall surely die, and you do not speak to warn the wicked to turn from their ways, the wicked shall die in their iniquity, but their blood I will require on your hand. Why? You're the watchman. You're the shepherd. You're the one that's supposed to be protecting. But if you warn the wicked to turn from their ways and they do not turn from their ways, the wicked shall die in their iniquity, but you will have saved your life. If the watchman sees danger and does not blow the trumpet, he has failed his responsibility. A drone operator again, I thought it was interesting. He said, I was tracking the shark, and notified the lifeguards and used the speaker on the drone to get everyone out of the water. I used everything I possibly could. I warned as soon as I could. Within 10 seconds, it was at the surfer, and 5 seconds later, it was gone. Because he spoke quick. He warned the surfer, and they were able to save Matt's life. A warning, folks, is not hate. A warning is love with urgency. Silence feels kind until danger takes someone under. Then all of a sudden, people want to know, why didn't you say something? Love is not passive when danger is present. Let me help our parents here. Here's where skilled communication is so powerful and effective. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 14, for if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself for battle? It's a great piece of logic right there. If I'm getting ready to tell people it's time for battle, but I make a sound and they don't know what that sound means, then they're not going to be prepared for battle. Imagine someone is given the task of warning about sharks in the water. Hey, I'm going to assign you the responsibility for warning anybody on the beach who's in the water that there are sharks in the water. It's your responsibility to warn them. And the person who has the responsibility to warn people never tells anybody what to listen for, what flag to look for whenever a shark is seen. Then, while they're on the lookout for a shark is spotted, and then the person who has the responsibility raises up a blue flag and sounds a foghorn. what would happen? Basically nothing, except some people would ask, who's the idiot blowing the loud foghorn? We don't even know what that means. What is that? What's the foghorn about? Then imagine someone gets bitten by a shark and bleeds out on the beach, and then the person is questioned, why didn't you warn the people? And the person said, I did. I raised a blue flag and sounded the foghorn. Yeah, but nobody knew what any of that meant. Communication is key. Parents, your communications have got to be strategic. They've got to be clear, easy to respond to. Don't just go home after this message today and announce a bunch of rules. Don't merely ask questions and give no context. Please avoid handing out consequences and your kids aren't sure why. When you ask a question, let them know why you're asking. Hey, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, sweetheart. I just want to know what's going on. I see you're with this new person. I don't know who the person is. I'm just curious who it is, what's going on, where are you going? I want you to have a good time. You're getting involved. You're finding out. You're staying curious. You're building a relationship with the person. You're setting boundaries, and they know why you're setting those boundaries. Bring your kids into the process and make them part of what's going on. Then when you say, hey, who's your new friend? They know why you're asking. Hey, what movie you guys are going to go see? Now they know why you want to know. Hey, I don't, you go to different parties and I feel pretty good about this one or that one. I just don't feel good about this one. I'm a little hesitant about that. Can we talk about that? You bring them into the process. You're not sounding an uncertain sound. You're sounding a clear sound. Now they know why. It doesn't mean they will agree, but your warnings will not have an uncertain sound. They'll be within context and they will understand why you're asking questions. Number 4, move toward danger with courage and wisdom. Love does not abandon people in dangerous waters, but courage has got to be guided by wisdom. You don't want people rushing into unsafe situations with no wisdom, no boundaries, no support, no plan. So I'm not saying overreact. Over the years, when I brought messages like this, I've seen, or parents will listen to a message like this and they haven't thought about a lot of these things, or they'll read a book about protecting their kids, go home, start slinging their authority all around, and everything's wrong, and now there's a whole list of 25 rules, and we're gonna this and that and change this and that, and give me your phone and no more computer time, and it just backfires. That's not the way to approach it. One of the most insightful pieces of truth that I've learned as a counselor is this: providing information is a good thing. Giving activities within sessions, it's a good thing. Advice can be helpful. But far and above, the most transformative piece is the relationship. Build a relationship with your kids. Build a relationship with your teenager. Build a relationship with other people. Build a strong relationship. And when that relationship is first, it's much easier to challenge, to question, to ask. Once the relationship is in place, it doesn't take a lot of courage to do the right thing. You don't need a lot of courage. You've got a relationship built. Because love is the foundation, permission is already grounded. Access much easier, much easier. So begin with the relationship. Then you can call the person, ask some hard questions, bring other people in if you need to, remove access to something, set some boundaries, etc. What does that mean? It means you're doing what love requires. You're doing what love requires. All right. Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart above all else, for it is a source of life. Parents, man, I'm telling you, as you get involved with your kids, you got to stay as healthy as you possibly can. If you don't guard your own heart, you can get pulled under yourself. A tired protector becomes easier to deceive. Remember in part 1 of this series, we talked about the temptations of Jesus. When was Jesus tempted? When he was hungry, when he was exhausted, when he was alone. Parents, the best gift you can give your kids is not an iPhone 64 or wherever we are now. The best thing you can give your kids is not a brand new tablet. The best thing you give your kids is not a new car. All your kids are going, shut up. The best thing that you can give your kids, not all that. The best thing you can give your kid is a well-rested, healthy, and completely whole parent. Because when you are well-rested and you are healthy yourself and you are whole, that is the best gift that you can give them. All right, last thing I'm going to give you is care for the wounded, care for the wounded, care for the wounded. I wanted to end on this because it's so important. When someone gets bitten, stop the bleeding, protect them from further harm, help them heal. Here's what I know about you. Here's what I know about those watching online. Almost everybody in this room is either bitten or knows somebody who is. There's blood in the water. Either you or your son or your daughter or your spouse or your best friend, you've experienced a recent shark bite. Your ex-spouse, your current spouse, your girlfriend, now a former friend, wounded you deeply, or you know someone who has been wounded deeply. They broke your trust, they lied to you, they cheated you, they abused you or someone close to you fell to a temptation, and the consequences of what they did are following them or following you, and pain is being experienced in your life or their life. Listen to me carefully. People who have been bitten need more than lectures. In fact, if you've got a friend who's been bitten and they're hurting and they're bleeding right now, I'm not saying go give them this message and say, see, this is what you should have been doing. That is not the way we need to approach it. They don't need, I told you so. They don't need, why didn't you listen to me? They don't need, serves you right. They don't need any of that. What they need is safety, truth, time, community, healing. They need people who don't shame them for having scars. They don't need people who shame them for swimming in waters that were dangerous. Now is not the time to shame anybody. If somebody comes in the emergency room bitten by a shark, you don't go, now, where were you? And why were you in those waters? And why didn't you get out? And why didn't you watch, the news? And why didn't you see the flag? And why didn't you heed well, how about let's take care of the bleeding right now. We'll get to that why stuff a little bit later. That's what people need. And I think one of the greatest benefits of a local church is to offer shelter and safety and protection and triage for the wounded of this world. If you've been bitten, church should be the one place that you can go and consistently hear, you're welcome. I know you're bleeding, but you're welcome. Come on in. Let's do what we can to help. You're loved. We're sorry. Let's clean the wound. Let's protect you so that you don't get more damage. And part of protecting you is providing practical wisdom, just like the series, so that you don't get bit again, so that you can avoid getting bit the first time or maybe the fifth time. So it's more reason for you to be present, to get involved, to serve, to give, to love others, to help us all shelter one another from sharks and warn one another when we see it coming. And let me tell you why this is important, and then we're gonna be finished. I presented this series in a way that helps see and feel the danger of damaging people, damaging ideas, damaging behaviors, damaging temptations. I presented it all, kind of wrapped it up in the idea of sharks, just so that we could remember it and see it and visualize it. It's a visually striking way of warning us of something that has the potential to destroy. But here's what I know. Even though the whole series might sound somewhat trivial and talking about sharks and putting it together in a cute little picture and all that, what we're talking about is not trivial. It's not small. It's not something that we need to be careful about. Okay, I think I heard Scott say we should be careful about sharks. No. You need to be careful when you ride a bike. You need to be careful when you climb a ladder and change a light bulb. You be careful when you're mowing grass, But swimming in bodies of water where sharks live, that requires more than care. You wouldn't tell your son or daughter when they wade into water knowing sharks are by, go, now be careful. No. Because see, if you trip and fall while changing a light bulb, you might get a lump on the head or at worst a broken arm. Swim with sharks, you might not come back. So I want you to heed what we're saying, because your life, the life of your child, your teenager, your spouse, your marriage, your future might depend on it. Back to the opening story. After the drone operator warned Matt, the surfer, to get out of the water because of the presence of a shark, here's how Matt responded at the end of the whole thing when he was being interviewed. He said, "But I'm still here in one piece, and I'll live to serve another day." Folks, your other day, your another day, depends on a clear warning being given and you responding to that warning before it's too late. So, Dad, let me ask you a question. Do you want another day to lead your son? I think most dads would say, yeah, I want another day to lead my son. Mom, would you like another day to guide and influence your daughter? Yeah, I hope I have a lot more days. Teenager, would you like another day so you can make some better decisions than you've made in the past? Yeah, I'd love another day. Well, another day doesn't just happen. There are no promises for another day. There are no guarantees. You got to protect today so you have another day. Because if you squander today, you might find yourself out of options. So listen and learn and apply what you're listening and hearing, the truth, and you might discover some of the best days you've ever had. And one of those best days might change the rest of your days. So listen, learn, and apply. The truth will set you free. Let's pray. Father, we bring ourselves to you today, just as we are. We are imperfect parents, imperfect grandparents, imperfect friends. We're imperfect spouses. We don't get it all right. Sometimes we have missed the warning signs. Sometimes we just didn't want to heed them because we didn't want to. Sometimes we get selfish, we get lazy. Sometimes we get it right. A lot of times we get it wrong. Father, I am so thankful that your word is packed with so much truth. You call those who want to destroy wolves. You call those who want to destroy hired hands. You call those who want to steal from us and hurt us thieves. We've called them sharks. It doesn't matter that we just understand that they're destructive and that we need to be shepherds and run to the shepherd and learn from the shepherd what it means to protect those we love. So, Father, I pray you speak into our families, speak into our marriages, speak into our homes, that there are dads and moms here who are overseeing the homes, and this message today has just caused them to feel somewhat guilty or feel ashamed that they haven't really stood up and they haven't warned and they haven't taken responsibility. Father, I don't want them to walk out of here filled with shame. I want them to walk out filled with a determination to lean on you and learn from you, that they can be the father that they know that they can be with your strength and your courage. They can be the moms. They can be the leaders of their homes. Father, there's hope in you, and you can guide and lead us. Spirit of God, we need you to enlighten us, to open our hearts, open our eyes, give us sensitivity, give us an awareness. Help us to be curious and ask the right questions and learn how to communicate. Help us lead our homes in a way that brings life and joy and peace for years to come. And Father, if there are those here, whether they're in this room or they're watching online today or a month from today or longer, and Father, they feel the sense that they have failed so greatly, God, I pray you cover them with your grace and your mercy. And may they run to you and say, here I am with all my problems and messes. Cleanse and make me whole and make me new. And I want to be the father. I want to be the leader. I want to be the one in my home that oversees it and leads it well. And may today be a brand new day, a start of something completely new and different. We honor you. We thank you. We worship you. And we ask all of these things in the name of your son, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Hey, thank you so much for being here today. Let me just mention, if you are new here, I'd love to know that today's your first time with us, or maybe your second time or third time, but you're still somewhat new, and you've never taken a moment to fill out a Connect card or send it in electronically or whatever. I'd love to know. We've got an acrylic box at the end of this hallway. We've got one in the New Here Information Center on the way out. We've got a gift there. It's a green bag that's got some goodies in there just to say thanks for being with us today. I'd love to get a chance to get to know you, answer questions you might have, just build a friendship with you. So let us know about it. Drop off the card that's in front of you or behind you. Fill it out, drop it off in the box, pick up your gift on the way out, fill out it on your phone if you choose to do it that way, and pick up your gift on the way out. It's just a way for us to say thanks and build that. Hey, we got one more thing we're going to do, and then we're going to go. We gave all the men tickets when you walked in today, and we've got a drawing real quick just to say thanks for some guy that will win. And Jennifer has done a super job walking up here with the tickets. I thought you could help me read the ticket in the early service, and you don't have glasses, and I think your reading was worse than mine. So we won't even go there this time. All right, here we go. Everybody got your ticket out, guys. 4, 3, 2, 8, 6, 5. 8, 6, 5. You got it? Right here is the gift. They'll bring it over to you. Let's give them a hand. Just a nice gift to say thanks for being here today and to celebrate Father's Day. Hey, I hope you have an incredible day. Thank you for being with us, and have a wonderful Father's Day, and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Take care.